special fields in the name record. Badge name, well, it's kind of a special field. It allows, if you're using a lot of conference work, you can put in, rather than having Charles as the first name, you might want to use Chuck. Now, if you don't use the badge name, or you say, well, I'm just going to use the first name for the first name on the badge, you can repurpose this. This is one of those fields that you can repurpose. Again, how you do that, under the names preferences, you go to badge name. And so if we use it, you can label this instead of badge name if you want to say maiden name. Then that field, that is the label that will appear on the name record when you navigate to that screen. It's still stored in the old badge name field, but it allows you to use it for a purpose that fits your particular needs. Don't mail. Don't mail is a way for you to mark addresses that are either bad because they're a bad mailing address, or you can use that as a way to exclude multiple family members. A couple of different ways to deal with that, but again, that's a way to exclude names from a mailing list when you're generating a mailing list. Another field related to exclusionary stuff is the EXCL, which is setting to the right of the email field. This is where you can respect a user's wishes to not be included in mass emails. If you have the email module, which allows you to do broadcast emails, you may have some customers who say, hey, send me my email confirmation for the class, but dadgummit, don't send me those quarterly, the catalog is now in the mail, come get it, options that you should be doing. So this is an opt-out option for those of you that haven't gotten into the email blast tool. That ability to respect the exclusion option is part of every email blast. So if there's some reason that you need an emergency email, class cancel, this kind of thing, you can override the exclusion and still get an email to that student if it's really important relating to their business with you in terms of helping meet their needs. Okay, Lori, doing good? So far, so good so far?
We're doing very well, thank you.
All right, back on the name record again. Source code, big field. Again, I always tell users, unless you have an unlimited marketing budget, you should use the source code and its companion field called tracking code on the registration record to find out how your student came into your database. In other words, what marketing effort, what promotion effort brought them in? And that is critically important. And we have a whole set of reports that help you do that. Interest codes. Again, this is where you can put in an interest code, and those interest codes will then allow you to market to that student. You can look at the student's record and be able to tell what classes they've been interested in. And again, there is no limit on the number of interest codes a student may have. And you can add as many as you want. There is a new option to scope interest codes. You can autofill from the course subject matter. We'll talk about that when we cover courses next week. And interest codes can be edited. You can edit the date by right mouse clicking, or you can remove it if there's an error or the student says, wait a minute, I'm getting Cisco notices, and I'm not a system administrator. I meant Crisco for baking. Okay, Lori, that was my joke for the day. So for you pie makers out there. All right, interest codes, critical things, source code and interest code. And I think big stuff, big stuff. Other thing, occupation and organization. Again, if this is particularly useful, I would suggest for programs that do professional classes. In other words, if you're doing business professional classes, it's real helpful to know the type of job a student has. Are they in sales, in accounting, in manufacturing? You know, what is their work? And then number two, what type of business do they work for? Educational, retail, banking, computer, manufacturing. That would allow you to build a profile or an understanding of the profile of the people in your database. And again, actually, one of the new things in 7.2, if you're a community ed program and you're saying, well, we don't really care so much about the occupation in the organization, but we might want to know, are they in district or out of district? You now can repurpose the organization and occupation fields, that is, relabel them and use those for some purpose other than my original source. So that again, another piece of flexibility.